Picked up this LG 37-inch TV for free, which is the best kind of TV that I like. It does kind of work, but it just takes an absolute age for it to switch on. So I managed to wangle this one, and here it is. But what's the problem with it? So you plug it in, you switch it on, but you just don't get any standby light, so there's no red light on it. You wait 5-10 minutes and then the light comes on, and then you can use the remote or the power button, and then obviously you get the picture in the menus and everything else seems to be fine, but it's just that initial warm-up period that takes ages. So let's go and switch it on and see how long it takes. Right, that is on. This may take a while. And the little red light has just come on. Should mean. There we are. Should come on now. And there we are. I have no idea what that movie is.
Do you think he did it? She was terrified of him.
Yeah. Let's be enough of that. Right, let's see what's wrong. Next thing we're going to do is just work the back off it. I'm not sure if this TV stand has to come off the bottom of here or not. So I'll just take it off anyway. And oh dear. Right. Have a look at this. Well, here we are. We seem to have some very poorly caps on here. So we've got that one that's domed, that one that's domed, and that one just in the back of the shot, which is also domed as well. Interestingly, they're all 2,200 microfarads are the ones that have gone. They're all 105 degree rated. The other ones physically appear to be fine. So what I'll do is I'm going to replace just these three, just for the time being, just to see if the unit actually bursts back into life. I don't think I've got some of the capacitors in here, so it's not really worth swapping all out. So I'm just going to do the three which are quite obviously bad, and just see if it fires back up again. So yeah, right, so it's time to desolder these, and I'll go and get some new caps out to replace these three, because I know I've got them somewhere. So what we're going to do now is solder those, unsolder even, those bad caps, make sure the hole's clear, and then pop in some new caps, which I'm sure I've got somewhere. So I've already marked on the back of the board, just with the pen, just the areas where the pins are that I need to solder. Save me flipping the board back and forth. So what I'm going to do is going to add some leaded solder to the lead-free solder, because it adds a bit more thermal mass and it also lowers the melting point of the solder as well. Because this soldering iron is crap, because my normal one is broken and I'm waiting for a new heating element for it, so I am I'm stuck with this pile of rubbish at the moment. So just going to try and do this first one over here. So, nice big ball of leaded solder. Some quite large ground planes on here that's going to suck the heat away, so I'm not sure whether this is going to be able to pop out that easily. Oh yeah, it's coming out nicely. So I'm just alternating between the two joints and then just walking the capacitor out a little bit in either direction. And that's one out. So put that onto one side. Actually, I'll bring that one back, I think. I said I marked it, I can't even see where my marks are now. Come on, Chris. Come on. Seriously? Ah, this is pathetic. Oh, right over here. There we go. Right, so there we are. Just add a bit more mass, thermal mass, with some leaded solder. Grab the capacitor on the other side, heat at one leg, pull that one away a little bit, heat the other leg, put it away, and alternate until it just pops free. Or in this case, gets a little bit stuck like this one. There we are, it's gone free. Okay, so that's 2 out now. And the other one is just here. That one fell out very easily. Just knocked something on the floor. Never mind. Okay, so we've now got those three capacitors out. So 1, 2, 3. I do like to clear out the solder from the hole so we can just pop the new ones in. So we will do that now. So we will use some utterly rubbish solder wick from China, which is a new pack. I haven't opened it yet. Ugh. There we go. Right, so I'll cut that little bit off. That's got a bit of sticky label on the end of it. It really helps if you use a bit of flux on the braid. It helps it the solder wick up and away. So I'm just going to preload a little bit in the area and just a bit on the wick as well. Actually, I'll move this in a bit closer, see if you can see it a bit better. Hopefully you should be able to see this a bit better now. So, like I said, just preloaded. It's leaking out the end of the syringe. A little bit of flux just on the 2 remaining solder blobs. Nice. Just preloaded a little bit on the crappy Chinese solder wick. Let's try and do this without knocking the camera at all. So don't breathe this stuff in, it's not nice. So anyway, you should be able to see that just gently wicking up. So you want to try and clean that hole out as much as possible. So that is now clear. And I'm just going to do the second one. So both of those. And they're nice and clear. So we're just going to repeat that process with the other areas. Just going to snip off the little bit that's already saturated with solder on here. Else you just end up with shed loads of braid that just suck all your heat away in both directions from where you're actually trying to desolder from. So if you're on your reserve soldering iron like I am, it's going to take a long time, or you're just not going to be able to get enough heat into it because it just dissipates in the braid. Just put flux on the other two areas. One hole clean, and the other one's clear. I'm going to break my golden rule like I just said and see if I've got enough heat in the soldering iron, and drop off the used bit on the end. And both those look clear. So we now can insert our brand new capacitors, which I believe these are, yeah, they are, can't see it, can you? Yeah, these are Panasonic caps. I can't remember which series they are. They're 105 degree rated, and they've got quite a high lifespan as well. Quite a long lifespan, sorry, in hours. I can't remember what it is. But, yeah, so I managed to find 3 of those, so those will be going straight back in. I thought we'd do quickly is just have a look at the ESR value of the bad capacitor that we've taken out compared to a good one, which is this Panasonic cap, just so you can see the difference in values. So your ESR is your equivalent series resistance, and in caps that are coming to the end of their life or been subjected to more heat than they should have done, the resistance basically shoots up, so this acts more and more like a resistor as opposed to a capacitor. So then that puts load on certain power rails on the power supply, and which is why when you first switch it on first thing, it has trouble. The TV has trouble going into standby mode because basically this is taking up all of your juice. So why does these things then switch on after a while? So when the TV's been on for 5-10 minutes, why does the TV suddenly kick into life? Well, when these are cold, the ESR value is, on a broken one, is quite high, and what happens is all your current is then going through this, which it shouldn't do. That then heats this up. Now, one of the side effects of having these heated up is then the ESR value starts to drop. So suddenly the extra load that's on the voltage rail, be it the 5 volt rail, 3.3, suddenly starts to come up. The voltage level comes up, and it obviously comes up to a level that the rest of the logic boards can accept, and then the TV light, standby light, will suddenly come on and everything will seem absolutely fine. So we're just going to plug this in to this incredibly cheap ESR reader here. This isn't going to be accurate, but it will just give us some sort of indication of how far out the values are on this. So what we do is we just fix this in. A couple of holes, if it will stay. The legs are quite short on this capacitor. Right, I think we're in. That voltage is a bit low. So we've got 0.61 and 1710 microfarads, and this should be a 220. I'm just going to go swap that battery over because that voltage was incredibly low. I just got to go and find another one. I can pilfer one out of my multimeter. Right, there we are. Battery that's got a bit more life in it. Okay, yeah, so same value, pretty much. So, but you notice that that reading isn't correct there at all. But I'm just going to go swap that around. That's not going to stay in place, is it? I'll hold it. So the readings are pretty much the same. Either way, so we've got another one now. Okay, so yeah, that one's pretty stuffed. That one thinks it's 2 diodes back to back. That quite obviously is not correct. What I'm actually going to do now is I'm going to put a bit of heat on this. So I'm just going to gently heat that capacitor, so as if it was actually in the TV and being switched on, and it's being heated up by its own internal resistance. So I think this one here was very, very bad. So that's got a little bit of heat in it now. So see if that has changed any of the values at all. No, that one is really quite stuffed. There we go. It's now just starting to recognise it as a capacitor. ESR value nearly an ohm, but we're well low on the actual capacity itself, so just over 1200. So let's give it a little bit more heat and see what we can get it to. Of course, it's a bit more difficult doing it this way because I'm heating it from the outside, whereas when it's in the actual power supply, it'd be heated internally. So it takes a little bit more effort to get the heat inside. So you can see the ESR has actually lowered, and our capacitance is actually rising a little bit. Anyway, I'm going to stop boring everyone with that. So that's enough heating up those. So let's just compare that to one which is a brand spanking new Panasonic cap, just to see how they compare. So look at the difference in that ESR value there now. That is huge. So yeah, I think that speaks volumes, to be honest with you. So anyway, good Panasonic caps going back in, and hopefully everything might be all right. Yay! So we're just going to pop the new caps back in now. Just going to do this one at a time. Oh, you can do them all at a time if you want. Let's live life on the edge. So I've just slid that in, which is nice and easy because we cleared up the hole with a solder wick. And we're just going to gently pull the legs sideways, just to hold them in place temporarily while we insert the other capacitors, and then we can flip over the board. Obviously make sure the polarity is correct on here, they're all marked. Negative is marked on the board as well. So just make sure you get that right, or else things will get hot and fizzy and bangy quite quick. And you'll be back to square one with possibly more bits and bobs to replace than you had initially. So that's it, they're all in, they're all nice and flush. Just double check the polarity. Yep, they're all fine. Flip over the board. Clean your tip, always clean your tip. Okay, they're all nicely soldered, so I'm just going to go and trim the excess length on the legs. Give it another look, just make sure it's all alright. Right, flip it back over. It's time to give it a bit of a test. Let's pop it back into the TV and see what it does. We're just going to pop the power supply with the new capacitors back in. Make sure you don't trap any of the cables anywhere. Just put in the four mounting screws in each corner. Put your power connectors back in gently. And the cables that go to the backlights, close to the inverter. Never touch around this area when this is powered up. Yeah, you're going to get a bit sparky while you're doing that. Main AC in connector, and there's a superfluous one at the top here which I don't know what that's for. I think that's for automatically powering the LCD off, because that goes to the T-con board at the top. Anyway, irrelevant, it's plugged in, nobody cares. So now, big question is, will it switch on? Just double check all your connections again. Grab a power cable, obviously be very careful where your hands are when you do this, because it's live in some areas around the back, and plug it in. And the standby light has come on immediately this time. So see how quickly it turns on with the power button on the side. There we are, straight away. I call that a win.